and Earthlings. I'm Kutzky Tha Space Pimp.
And I'm Tallboy Tony. Welcome back to another episode of Smugglers Cove.
On tonight's episode, you guessed it, we'll be beating this dead horse until the entirety of its life has extinguished its body. And that is not anywhere near yet, you'd think. But here on episode 8...
Yeah, we still do have quite a bit to go.
We've got another few categories to fucking rip through.
So this episode is philosophical questions for kids, but as is custom, first things first.
First things first.
Back again with the pipes,
Mm-hmm.
as is my wont. Oh.
There we go. So, as Tony the Tallboy said, this episode is on philosophical questions for kids. So, we are well qualified, perhaps overqualified.
That could be very well the case.
Now that we have pipes, I think we are just extremely overqualified. What is childhood?
Why do we need it? Is childhood a helpful tool?
What is this basketball you speak of? Kick the who?
But why would we tie our shoes?
Oh, you know the alphabet, do you?
Does the basketball hoop feel pain?
Cool. Pokemon.
Alright, you read the first question while I actually get this pipe lit.
Well, she don't fucking fail. Number 167. What does it mean to feel happy?
Okay.
It means you have a tent in your pants, and there's a lady you wish to ask to dance. She says no, and where does your tent go?
Sock hop? I loved sock hops.
Yeah. TG14 sock hop. What does it mean to feel happy? Well, like I said, you have a boner when you see your gal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids definitely have a lot of boners running around.
Well, you know what? Yeah. I had boners when I was a kid, Tony, so just so you and all the pedos watching this know.
I really hope that's
I'm
not
a
our demographic.
Red-blooded what?
I really hope that's not our demographic. I don't want that to be the winners.
Smugglers Cove. I've smuggled lots of things into the cove. Jesus. Means you feel good, bro.
What does it mean to feel happy? Enjoying the moment, smiling, laughter,
worry-free.
Yeah.
I guess I can't really answer these from the mind of a kid. Because if I was going to answer this from, like, little kid brain, I probably still would have said that boner joke. And then maybe I'd say to be on my skateboard.
Okay, well, that's fair. For me, it was... I mean, I liked playing with... My mom got me... technically my mom and dad, for, like, Christmas or my birthday, I had, like, a Playmobil pirate ship that could go in the bath.
Okay.
So, I was in the bath with a toy like this big and a bunch of dudes on a pirate ship. You know I was happy. I was having a ball. Absolutely. I still have that pirate ship too. I don't take it in the bathtub anymore. But, like, it was a good time, man. I really did love that pirate ship.
So, Playmobil, you're going to have to explain to me what that is. I was picturing Lego.
So, it's kind of like Lego with less... It's more like a narrative toy and less like a creative toy.
So it's like action figures?
So they're kind of like Lego in that you can dress them up.
Mm-hmm.
You can give them different swords and weapons and things. But you can't, like, build your own sets. Like, they come in sets.
Okay.
So my pirate ship, I didn't build the pirate ship. It came as a pirate ship. Like, I assembled it, stuck certain parts together, but it could only ever be a pirate ship. I couldn't mix and match. Yeah. You could also get, like, Treasure Island. So they're like, it's, I don't want to say, like, grown-up Lego, but it was not so many, like, the little parts and pieces weren't going to, well, you could take apart the sets, but they were predetermined, built.
Kind of like pirate Barbie dolls with a fucking pirate mansion. Just Barbie dolls in the sense that you change their clothes.
I just don't like that analogy, but yes, essentially you're correct. I'm just sore about it.
I'll look up a picture to make you
yes, please do.
Redeem this. Playmobil?
Playmobil. I think with no E on the end, though.
Mobile. Pirate ship. One of many definitions of happiness. Like this. We're looking... I know I spelled it kind of wrong, but...
Yeah, not that exact. Well, there's another one that my parents have. That's that one they got to use. But yeah, basically.
Similar to this. That is pretty fucking wicked. Yeah, it looks like happiness to me.
Yeah, playing with that was really fun for years.
Because I guess one form of happiness then would be just entranced in something. And so invested.
Lost in something?
Lost, yeah.
No, I think that would, for a kid to be lost in something that makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. That is happiness. Because with kids, right, they don't really multitask emotions very well. They're either happy or sad. It's pretty cut and dry. They're not usually like, I should be having fun, but I'm not. They'll just be like, no, I'm sad. You know, like they don't really. They say, no, I don't want to play with this. Not, the existential, like, but this is my favorite toy. Why am I not having fun with this? Puff, 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 puff.
Why? Why have you grown out of favor, old faithful? That was my best sophisticated impression as a child. My old faithful toy. Yeah.
Do we have an old faithful toy?
On that? I don't know.
It's like a science geyser.
It was a can, see? We kicked it. Tactics. I played before. I fucking Tactics. Still do, but that was my toy choice back then. Be in my room, landing tricks. Basically, yeah, landing tricks or fighting with pirates in the bath.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other forms of happiness that aren't just being lost in something. Mm-hmm. Being overjoyed at something. I guess seeing your puppy or something.
But
seeing an old friend.
Well, that's the thing is with kids, their happiness really like consumes them in that moment, right? Like, like they get so distracted.
So is that just a general arc of happiness then? It's like it just overwhelms you? At least momentarily?
Yeah, but I think with kids it's, that much more powerful because they're experiencing it all for the first time and they don't have those weights and responsibilities and those reminders of past times necessarily that hinder. Right?
But, like, you played with your pirate ship in the bath more than once.
Yeah.
So, each time was fun.
Yeah. But it's not like I was thinking, rent's due. I didn't have, what will I eat for supper on my mind, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you kind of forget, when you're a kid, you forget all else.
Fair.
And just kind of enjoy, which, I mean, God bless children for that.
Mm-hmm. Do you see what we have down here, Tony? It's our homies. This is who I ordered the stickers from.
Really?
Yeah. Do we...
I think we wait until the unboxing.
Alright. We have a... that was a sneak peek to an upcoming segment in one of these episodes. So, number 168. Why are some things right and some things wrong? Well...
For breaking it down from the perspective of a kid?
Yeah. Some things
hurt and some things help.
Some things you get your cell phone taken away for. Some things you don't. That was a common thing that made me know that I did something wrong. I'll let that go for a minute.
Some things make your parents happy and some things make your parents upset. Might be another one, but I think when you break it down to, like, I personally, I'm thinking back to childhood, and it's like, hands are for helping, not for hurting, which I didn't like at the time anyway. They had a stupid dolphin puppet, and I didn't like dolphins then, and I don't like dolphins now.
Yeah, I guess some things are conducive to your well-being and other things are not, so if it's not healthy to you or those around you, then it's quite likely wrong. And if it is healthy to you and those around you, it's quite likely right.
Yep.
Do you want to spend any more time on this?
I don't think this is going to be a section that we spend a lot of time on.
No. Is it necessary to be nice to people, and why? This really is for fucking kids. Like, if I answer this as a 6-year-old, is it necessary to be nice to people, and why?
As a 6-year-old, well, it's good to be nice. You need to be nice to everybody, is what you tell a 6-year-old, because they can't they're not at a point where they differentiate between, like, no, some people you can stand up to, and it's not important to be nice. It's important to stand up for your morals,
There was a kid I beat up a fucking shit ton because he was always lying about dumb shit. So whenever I caught him in a lie, it was basically, you have an appointment with me after school. My parents weren't happy. His parents called my parents. And
I typically, when I was in school, like, I wouldn't say I was a bully, but I also didn't put up with bullshit. So, like, if someone did something that really annoyed me, I would solve it with violence.
Same, yeah.
Then I went to a Christian school and tried to apply the same tactics, and that was nipped in the bud, shall we say.
I used to fight, like, through kindergarten to grade 4. I was just beating up kids. And in particular, that kid who was lying, I beat him up quite a bit. I also wanted to touch back on when his parents called my parents, and we had to have a meeting, and basically his mom was just distraught, telling my mom, like, all the bad shit that I did to this kid. The next day at school, he had another appointment with me. So
he learned snitches get stitches?
He learned a valuable lesson that day, as all the lessons I taught him were valuable. Tough love is what it was called. But I guess I didn't love him, so... anyways, I got out of grade 4, went into middle school, and suddenly there was these kids that are bigger than me, and I had a conversation with myself, like, Caleb, you can't fight anymore. Like, it's not gonna fly. You could get beat up. And so that's why I started developing more maniacal tactics, like, I don't know, spitballing people, or I guess that doesn't really count. We just would shoot spitballs.
That's just bullying.
Yeah. I guess, it didn't, just took on a different form. Bullying gets a bad rap, but I would say it's pretty fun.
Well, I mean, so here's, like, I think that bullying for bullying's sake is...
Fun.
No. Bullying for bullying's sake, like, if you're doing it just to destroy someone's life, that's one thing. At the same time, some people, Like, there are kids, like, for me, there were kids that if I saw you picking on another kid,
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, fuck off. And, you know, I'd mess with that kid.
Yeah.
Not just kids that mess with me, but I'd mess with that kid because it's like, stop doing that. You know, not to say that you should go out and be a vigilante, but I did not put up with a whole bunch I didn't put up with a whole bunch when I was a kid.
Yeah, I suppose that's justice. I would do justice bullying and just general bullying as a multifaceted bully. The thing I always hated is they said, like, bullies had trouble at home and shit. When I saw you and you were not acting right, and my, like, definition of not acting right was very broad. It was basically anything I didn't like. You got an appointment. Yeah, be a bully if you want to be a bully. See how it winds up. That'd be my advice.
Well, like, I just know stories like one of my coworkers tells me, like, when he was back home, there were kids that just didn't do anything. Just these kids just decided they didn't like him, so they wait for him at school and then just jump him and beat the ever living crap out of him, and then like follow him home and like beat him up on the way home. Like, I really don't think that to me is wrong. You know, when when you bully someone so hard that you're making their lives absolutely terrible and terrifying.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm saying, like, some people deserve to kind of get put back and knocked down a peg, but there are some people who are already down 3 pegs, and then you just start breaking the board.
Yeah, because those lives to me seem like there's some sort of karmic entanglement with them. Like, it's almost too much for a person. Well, it is too much for that person to handle, and it's like, why them? You know, like, they weren't the only nerd, or they weren't the only potential target.
Yeah.
Yet they were the one that befell upon.
I think that if you're a bully doing that kind of, like, if you're engaging in that savagery, however, that is the kind of bully that's having trouble at home or doesn't have a good home life.
Yes.
You know, because in order to mercilessly beat someone else every day just for the sake of beating them and getting the twisted pleasure out of their pain and suffering, that tells me that you have some issues.
Did that kid ever, you know, get a bat and fucking...
Not that I know of. I didn't, like, talk too much about it. My buddy was just telling me, you know, like, this kid's life was hell. Which, to me, honestly, like, I would have been the kid to bring a bat or a weapon and just tune someone up. Like, when I was, like, my family moved out of Hillsborough because my brothers were having trouble with bullying.
Yeah.
And then we came to Moncton. And then when they had me and I went to school, they were like, we should move back to Hillsborough. Because I was just, like, before I went to Christian school, I mean, mind you, it was only like K to 2, but I was just fighting everything. Like, I was not a peaceful child in any capacity whatsoever.
I remember beating up kids on the playground, and then once I beat them up, I would run and I would hide under the base of this slide. So it kind of was like blocked in on either side in the front, but I could crawl in from the back, and I would just bury myself in wood chips because I didn't want to get caught at recess and like have my recess like cut short because I beat up this kid. But meanwhile, I just spent the other half of my recess like hiding in fucking fear.
You basically put yourself in detention?
Yeah. No, principal. I already buried myself in wood chips. You could tell from the stains on my knees.
I've done my time, copper.
I've already got this under control. You go tend to the other kids. One time, I made, you know those like fortune cookie things where you're like red, blue, or...
what are they called? Cootie catchers?
Cootie catcher. So I made this cootie catcher, and it was all about our teacher who smoked profusely. You know, so we called her egg smoker, of course. And
as one does.
all the answers were basically like, you're gonna kiss hag smoker. You have to make out with hag smoker. Like, you have to have. I don't even know if I understood what sex was, but it was like you have to have a sex with hag smoker or something. Like,
sex. I was gonna say I have to sniff hag smoker's panties, but that just might be a bit too graphic for kids.
This would be grade. I think this was grade 4, and so anyways. I had this thing, I showed my friends, and it was like, they're like, oh man, like, you know, they getting the other kids to try it. So I went to the washroom, and I just stayed there, and like, kids came in. Like, I was like, it's like, alright, come in, play. So it was like this weird, like, misguided fortune teller.
That just sounds like from a movie, you know, like from, you know, Recess, the cartoon.
It continues,
okay.
Movie-esque. So I'm doing all this shit, and I'd like, you know, I'd wait and I'd see them leave, and then like shoes would come in. I'd always be watching the shoes. So I was probably in the washroom for like 40 minutes. And
so you were just hanging out in the stall?
Just hanging out in the stall, yeah. And they would come, they'd knock, I'd open the door, and then I'd be like, red or blue, or like whatever the fuck, and they'd pick, and then I'd go and whatever. Anyways, so I'm waiting for my next client, and I see these fucking dress shoes walk in. I was like, fuck, it's the principal. He knocks on the door, and I throw the fucking cootie catcher in the toilet and, like, trying to flush it. Anyways, he gets the door open and just, like, sideswipes me, reaches in, pulls the cootie catcher out.
Why wouldn't you just pull your pants down and sit on the toilet?
Good point.
I mean, obviously, as a kid, you might not think about that, but, like...
No, I knew he knew that, like, I was in there.
You kind of gave yourself up by trying to flush it.
Yeah.
If you had just been pantsless on the toilet, you would have been like, what?
Well, I remember fumbling with the top to try to shove it in there, and then just I heard them clicking at the door, because I had the door locked, obviously, but they were like...
You can't just get in here for free?
Yeah, so then I couldn't get in the top, so I put it in and tried to flush, and yeah, red-handed, takes her down the office, and he just reads it, and it's like, kid, this is really, really not good, you know, like, I'm going to have to call your parents. Anyways, he called my parents. It's not the first time he had to make a call to parents. I get suspended a number of times in grade 4. I don't know if a lot of people get suspended in grade 4, but I figured out a way. Anyways, yeah, and like, because in hindsight, it was pretty harmless stuff. You know, you're going to have to kiss hag smoker.
Yeah, it's not really a legally binding contract. Like, it's not like she's like, Donald again? Like, I think you choose blue first on purpose.
Well, and the other part that was like, it was targeted towards a teacher. Because I did stuff targeted towards students, and that made more sense. There's, one more anecdote here, but there's this girl, and she was just a bitch. Like, her face, some people have, like, this is before the term resting bitch face, but definitely she had one of those. And kind of like real righteous, you know, like, you guys can't do that. Like, girl, like, we are actually literally in the act of doing it, so
mind your own business.
Off. Yeah.
You
could take a clue. So anyways,
was she a teacher's pet too?
She would have been ish. Not as like, I wouldn't say like fully fit the quintessential definition of like, you know, brown nose and the teacher, but her grades were probably important to her. Anyways, I had called her ugly, and I felt at the time it was a deeper thing than just like her looks. Like, you're just an ugly person. Like,
yeah.
So, anyways, she had enough of this. Went and talked to the teacher. The teacher talked to the principal. They sent me to they called me down to the principal's office, and the principal wasn't taken this, so they pawned it off to the vice principal, and the vice principal, he kind of looked like a real like badly aged Christian Bale with pedo glasses, and he had this like mop top slick back hair, which was obviously gray, but he had dyed it with like some budget ass blonde, so it was kind of more like this yellowy gold that also looked like, you know, if people get like cigarette stains in their mustache, like, looked more like that. Anyways, and he had a silver tooth. He just was like, looked like he should be in Miami, fucking pushing.
To me, like, I was gonna say, like, did he sell used cars before or after his time there? Like,
Definitely. You're picturing the right thing. So we get down there, and of course this girl's there. And Caleb, like, I understand you've been calling so-and-so ugly. And I was like, yeah. I was just like, I didn't even feel like I was in there for, like, my wrongdoings. I felt like I was in there for, like, a misunderstanding that he didn't,
understand how ugly she was?
Yes, yeah. It's like, you guys, am I the only one sane here? You fucking children. Meanwhile, I'm 10. So, anyways, he, how do you think that makes her feel? And I'm like, she's ugly. So, he's like, Caleb, I want you to tell blank she is beautiful. I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, if you don't do this, like, you're getting in-school suspension. I was like, no, I'm not. And I want real suspension. And he's like...
I want twice the punishment.
Well, I didn't want to go to I hated in-school suspension. Because I just wanted to be suspended. Like, I'm going to get the same, like, grounding or punishment at home for my deeds. Let me at least be at fucking home. Instead in this classroom just...
I liked in-school suspension. Because, well, I only got it one time because this dude... I got pushed into this guy, and then he kicked me in the shin, so I punched him in the mouth. And they gave us both in-school suspension, but the kid was from a broken home, so they basically let him do whatever he wanted. He didn't get the in-school suspension. I was the only one that honored it. And I was like, I don't have to deal with anyone downstairs, and I can eat lunch at my desk. Like, and so I'm, like, just drawing up, so, like, I don't have to worry about being late. Like, I can just eat my sandwich at my desk. Like, it was... To me, in-school suspension was just like a privilege.
You're making fair points.
Like, I was just like, dope, it's quiet. I can just do my thing. I don't even know if I had to write lines or anything. It was, I think they kind of just were like, your punishment is peace and quiet and a undisturbed lunch.
Like, our teachers sent us in, like, these work things that we had to do, worksheets, and it was basically just work all day, and you just sat there and you had to be super silent.
Yeah.
It was...
Silence was a thing for me anyway, because I had those offices, so like we were in cubicles anyway, so it's just like, all right, so I get to be in school, like, except now I don't have to. I can just draw because it's not like they're over my shoulder all the time. So I'm sure I drew because that's all I did.
That sounds a little more appealing than mine.
Yeah,
I was just like, send me home. Like, I'll be banished to my room, and that's where my tactics and my ramps are. Like, I get this figured out, man. She's ugly. She's ugly. And it got real fucking cringe real quick. Like, tell her she's beautiful. Tell her she's beautiful. And just this fucking creepy dude trying to get me to tell a younger, like a fucking 10-year-old
with the glasses and a silver tooth.
Yeah,
tell her she's beautiful.
Yeah, and he couldn't, like, stand up afterwards, and he just told us to leave, and it was really weird when he pulled out this jar of Vaseline as we left, but, I got my suspension, so to each his own.
And he found his relief.
Punishment. His punishment was delivered. 2 people got punished that day.
And he punished his dick.
In case you couldn't read between the lines. Fucking pervert.
I think, honestly, like, no, I'm not trying to, like, defend that girl, but I think it's also punishing her to sit there and be like...
Tell her she's beautiful. Tell her she's beautiful.
No, she's ugly. And she knows she's ugly. Like, she's a girl.
Yeah.
She's already got body issues. They come, like, that's inherent with women, unfortunately. But, she's already feeling like shit. And you hurt her feelings because she knows it's true, and so then you're just like sitting there like, no, I will not speak a lie, and it's just like, all right, so you got like George Washington deck, fucking just like, no, this bitch is not appealing, and then she just got to sit there as you deny again and again in front of this dude who's probably creeping her out, right? Like, tell her she's beautiful as he licks his lips, like, tell her she's beautiful. No, I won't.
Did that ever backfire on her? Fuck.
I hope she's doing okay.
Yeah, and she's like pretty too. She was just like, she had a bitch face, but it wasn't like she She was ugly on the inside. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
later on in life, yeah, I think she survived well. And if she didn't, then I'm sorry you had to deal with the vice principal.
I wonder how many cars he's sold by this time.
Just tell your wife it's beautiful. What? No, I don't have any... Why would I have Vaseline?
Mr. McConnelly told me I'm beautiful again. John, we've had this discussion before. You're in school suspension at the teacher's lounge, like he's just fucking smoking, chain smoking.
I want at-home suspension. You're not Caleb. Yeah, you don't get that.
So, is it necessary to be nice to people, and why? If you're a kid, then be nice. If you're,
yeah, you should be. I mean, technically, it's not necessary, but it's conducive.
You should enter into, like, you should be nice as a general rule, but that doesn't mean you should take guff, you know? So, like, is it necessary to be nice to people? Yes, but, you know, also I'm going to tell my kid, like, but if people are messing with you, like, you know, stand up for yourself.
Yeah, don't go out of your way to be rude, but if it's called for, then it's called for.
Yeah.
Alright, Tony, number 170, what is kindness?
Kindness is doing something nice for someone. I think we've already discussed kindness, but I think kindness is doing nice for someone even if it doesn't necessarily benefit you in the moment.
Yeah.
Making other people feel good.
Yeah.
Kindness. Being kind.
Generally. Recognizing people as equal, or at least worthy.
Yeah.
Number 171, is being kind and being nice the same thing?
I'd say no.
No?
I would say that being nice is kind of like a surface level, like being friendly.
Yeah.
Whereas kind is, it kind of takes more emotional involvement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's nice of you to light my cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
It was very kind of you to blow me the pipe to see if I liked it. Right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
kindness, I find, requires more depth.
Fair.
Yeah. So, like, nice
is
begets
kinda,
kind.
Yeah.
Right? Like, nice is what you can be nice to the guy at the gas station and friendly with him. But kind is like, how are you doing today, man? Like, you... Like, yeah. I guess.
For example, one time I saw these Reese peanut butter cups and they had potato chips in them. And so I don't, like, eat a lot of chocolate, but I was like, I want to try these fucking things.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't, you know,
I think I
seen
vaguely
something.
remember those.
So they're still around now. Like, this is somewhat recent. This would be like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, I saw them. They were new, and so I saw them. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I don't know, maybe a month later, I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna have one of those. I'm gonna get those. So we're out. I went to one gas station. They didn't have them. I just assumed they were everywhere. So then I go to this other gas station. I go in, I'm looking for it, and this guy's like, you know, basically, you need help, what's up? So I tell him I'm looking for it. He's like, oh. He's like, those sound cool. Like, no, I haven't seen them. I'm like, yeah, I wanted to try them. Like, I can't remember where I saw them. But we were both like, he was actually interested. Like, you know, that's cool. Well, good luck with it. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I went to my next store. I went to Air, just convenience store, whatever. And they're there at Air. So what are you fucking giggling at? So I go get these fucking Reese cups with potato chips.
Okay.
What's fucking funny? Spit it out.
So I was just thinking.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, like, one thought process led to another.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, please excuse us, dear viewers.
So then I called him ugly, and that looked like...
Okay, no, this is okay. Like, excuse me, this is... So you know how, like, in the last podcast, I was too focused on smoking my pipe?
Yeah.
And I was like, right? Yeah. Well, in this one, I was thinking about, because I have to be at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, like, well, then, like, well, 4 to 12 is 8. So why did I think that? I was like, well, because, like, 6 to 12 is 6. And I was like, listen, why did I have to say we have to be at bed at 4? Because, like, then that's 10 hours sleep. And then my brain was like, no, you're doing that thing where you're thinking about things while he's talking again. You're zoning out. So then it brought me back to the, and then it just went from there. But I'm paying.
Thank you. Thank you for your attentiveness, Tony.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling this kindness story.
Yes,
I
please.
find these fucking Reese cups and potato chips at the convenience store. And so I go to get one, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to get two and give it to Buddy. And so I went and got another one, and then I drove back to the other, like, the gas station where they didn't have them, but the guy was super nice to me about, like, oh man, those are interesting. He seemed, like, curious about it, genuinely. So I walked in, I was like, yo, I was like, here. He's like, what, really? I'm like, yeah, like, you thought this was cool too, like, I don't know, I'll fucking see you again.
Yeah.
So I saw him like a year later at the gas station. I was like, are you the guy I gave the... He's like, yeah. I'm like, did you like them? He's like, yeah, they were good. I could feel him like trying to remember because it's been a fucking year. I don't blame him.
He ate a bag of chips.
Yeah. And what's really fucking weird about them is it's potato chips large.
Right. And they're coated, right?
The potato chips?
Yeah.
No, it's a Reese cup, literally. And so in the peanut butter part of the Reese cup, there's like pieces of potato chips.
Oh.
So
that sounds really satisfying.
It is, but the curious part is how do they stay crunchy in the peanut butter? You might be onto something with this coated thing, because I don't understand. It's just you bite down, the chip is still crunchy. If you ever put chips in anything...
At the same time, peanut butter...
Yeah.
Like, I know it dries the crap out of my mouth.
It would dry a chip? I feel like we could experiment with this and go get a chip and put it in peanut butter, and we go back 20 minutes later, that chip's going to be soggy.
Okay, but we can't do an intermission. This is an experiment outside the podcast. You can't just be like, and
Smugglers Cove, Bill Nye edition.
Cove, yeah. Get it together, science. But I mean, if it can make your
they did get it together.
Your moist, soft palate dry from peanut butter, then could it not keep a already dry, salted thing crispy?
Well, it's not like a preservative.
I'm not saying it's a preservative. Well, preservatives usually soften things up a lot.
So, but you're saying it would dry out more?
Well, I'm not saying it would dry out more. I'm just saying that if peanut butter dries out a wet mouth, then it doesn't. It seems like they're just two very dry things together make a dry thing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Preservative.
Well, but I'm not saying it's
fucking dryness.
Well, preserve the dryness. I wouldn't say peanut butter itself is a preservative.
I'm basing all this on the fact that I like to crush up chips and put them in my tuna mix, like tuna and mayo.
Okay.
And it's delicious when you eat it, like right then and there. But the downside is you go back to have another sandwich out of it a few hours later.
Yeah, not a good idea.
And they're all soggy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm basing the, like, how does the peanut butter not make it soggy? I feel like right now if I went down there and put a chip in the peanut butter and then when checked in 20 minutes, that chip would have gone soggy. Because it would have absorbed some of the oils or whatever the fuck in the peanut butter.
Yeah.
To me, it's a mystery.
But chips are also very oily.
So they repel each other's moisture via the oil content?
Okay, Bill Nye. I don't know, man. It's for some reason it makes sense to me.
I want you to be stumped by this too, because to me it's like...
Maybe I'm not saying I'm not stumped. I'm just stumped in agreeance. like I'm willing to let the potato chip science work with the peanut butter. It just, to me, it kind of makes sense. If peanut butter already dries stuff out and you need jelly and milk or bananas to help it go down.
If it dries stuff out, because when you say that, I just picture like your phone gets wet, people put it in a bag of rice. Yours is just in a fucking jar of peanut butter. Like, your mom's like, Tony, why is there a cell phone in our peanut butter? Well,
I dropped it in a puddle.
I dropped it in a puddle, and I'm trying to prove Caleb wrong.
No, I don't think. I know I do a lot of dumb things, but that's absolutely off the table.
Fuck, my phone's in the toilet. Get a jar of peanut butter. And we just look sick.
Just fill the toilet with peanut butter.
Yeah. Put it in rice. Put it in peanut butter.
I saw a video this guy went to a cell phone repair shop, and he's like, I saw on the internet that when my phone gets wet, I can put it in rice, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Do you have rice here? And like was getting super pissed at the cell phone repair guy that he didn't have rice. it was like just like surreal. Like if you're going to a place and they charge you money to put your phone in a jar of rice, like you deserve to have your money taken from you.
I gotta tell this story. If my aunt watches this, I'm sorry, but so my aunt had trouble with her cell phone, and she's...
Oh no. Okay.
I'm good at this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Normally, like I've replaced my phone screens on my phone like I don't know, probably 5 or 6 times. You just
really.
Yeah, iPhone 4s were really easy, or iPhone 6s. You just popped it up like a car hood, unclicked it, then clicked in the new screen, screwed it back together, piece of cake. iPhone 4 was miserable. Took me about an hour. I had to take the whole thing apart, take the computer chip out.
Okay.
Much more complicated, but it can be done by just a civilian with some patience. So
well, I feel like a lot of cell phone repair can be.
Yeah, but I mean, not many people I know that aren't in that line of business like take on such a challenge. Like, I haven't met many of my friends who've actually replaced their phone screens or some shit like this.
I would, except whenever I need to replace my phone screen, I'd have to Google where to get a phone screen or to order one, and I only have a phone.
On your phone. Catch-22.
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to say, call me. You can't do that either. So, anyways, my aunt's coming over. She's got her phone screen smashed up, and so my mom's telling her, like, oh, Caleb can do that. Like, he's replaced Maya's screens. And I was like, yeah, sure, feeling full confident. Because the other thing, it's stupid cheap. Like, the iPhone screens were maybe $20 tops, and so you just order them, they come in, replace them, done. If you go to get that done at the shop, $100
Are you
plus.
$100? I pay like $250 every time I have to switch a fucking phone screen.
Dude, you gotta look into this, because...
No, exactly. Like, I'm not going to name the business, but they are fucking sharks in town, because they're the only ones on the warranty.
Yeah.
That they're allowed to do it, and then they try and upsell you. So the last time I went in there, I was like, busted my phone screen. Can you fix it? Yeah. And so then they're like, all right, so $250 for the repair, and then it's $30 for a phone screen, like a phone screen protector.
Yeah.
But they said if you do $60, then you get like 3 free replacements.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that they put the phone screen protector on, and then it started peeling off. So I went back and I was like, hey, why is my phone screen peeling off? And the guy, he was an immigrant, so I think that they didn't train him to be dishonest.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, that's because of the case that you have. It pushes the phone screen off. And I was just like... And the thing is that the guy that put the phone screen on, and he seems like a really nice guy, but he's like telling me the whole time, he's like, yeah, we're the only ones that can do this. We're like the only ones that can, like, we're licensed to do this.
Protector screen?
To put that on, yeah, because
the protector screen.
Yeah, so
Jesus
apparently it's this super exclusive thing that only this one cell phone repair company that can do in Moncton.
No.
And he's like telling me all this, and so then I have to go back a week later, and the other guy's just like, yeah, no, it's because of your phone case. It's going to constantly get pushed off. And like I was just like, well, why? Like, don't brag to me how good you are at your job and then muck this up.
Yeah,
also,
tell me that before.
I just paid $250 for a phone screen. You're not just going to put a screen protector on it. So that's anyway. Yeah, I know, but that's also the place where when I got the new phone screen on. They messed with my selfie camera.
Yeah.
And, like, it was blurry, so for a while I couldn't take selfies. I mean, but, like, I couldn't use my front camera as well. But then I accidentally bit through my phone screen one night and I had to get a new phone anyway, so...
There you go.
So problem solved. My selfie camera works now.
$250 down the drain.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to pay that much. And
no.
thus is where I found myself in the predicament of trying to help my aunt out with her phone.
Right.
So I checked online, found her some screens. They were a bit more expensive. They were like $35. Mm-hmm. She had some sort of, I don't know if it was a Motorola, like it wasn't an iPhone basically. Mm-hmm. So I ordered the screen, it came in, she came over. I'm taking off her screen and I run into a bit of a pickle that I didn't realize would be such a big deal until the end of this whole thing. So what happened, I go to take it off and it's kind of stuck in. So I start prying on it. I have these tools, like I get a cell phone repair toolkit at Princess Auto. It was like $10 or something. And anyways, it's got these little shims, so I'm like pulling this screen off, and it's pulling apart, and there's like a sealant around the perimeter. Mm-hmm. So what I realized is like, oh, this was like a waterproof screen. Mm-hmm. So typically when you order the screens, they come with everything you need. Like they'll even send you the tools and shit. And this is all for, because they're just like dumb little cheap tools. They're all kind of plastic and little screwdrivers, whatever.
What single use kind of thing?
No, you can use the tools, but it's just like some of the plastic ones are just like, they can make this a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
They're little screwdrivers. It's from China. The shit's mass produced. So anyways, I get her phone screen off, and I'm just assuming that the phone screen I ordered sent me all the parts to replace it, because it literally was a replacement screen. Mm-hmm. So I go to replace it. I sit it in, get it all like wired back up, hooked in, and the screen's just in there like it's floating. Like it's missing this perimeter that was around it. So I'm like looking in the package, there's no perimeter. I take the old perimeter off the old screen, try to put that in, but it's all stretched to hell because I had to peel it and it was stretching and shit.
Yeah.
So
was it like, you think like a rubber cement kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, no, it literally was. So I've got this phone screen back together, but the thing's just flopping in there. Like if she held it up, it would just dangle out. So I was like, all right, well, I need to fucking secure this in here. So I go in the garage and I start looking around for something to secure this phone screen in. And the only thing I could find was this product called No More Nails. It's like a glue that you use to hang shit up on the wall. It's kind of like a silicone in a way, but it's
like
white.
Dad level sticky tack?
Kind of, but in a glue tube format. So you just would. And so I'm like, well, fuck it. So I put, this is god awful of me. Like this is the worst craftsmanship I've ever done. Like I'm a pretty good craftsman, but this was just like, I went full blown redneck. I put the no more nails all around the fucking perimeter of the phone screen, and then pushed it down in so it would seal in. And so it's sealing in and it's oozing shit. Like it's oozing shit out the speaker port, it's oozing shit out the charge port, and all around the side. So I'm like, I had my finger, I'm licking it, I'm like smoothing out the edges, get the Q-tip in there, like taking the fucking shit out of the charge port. And then it dries. I'm like, huh. Like it doesn't look half bad. I've got it all smoothed out, but it's white. It's fucking white. It's just like this chalk white perimeter all around her fucking phone screen. So I saw a buddy do this when I was working in the car industry for a little bit, and he had like puttied this guy's rear view camera into his back. Like he wanted an aftermarket rear view camera. It wouldn't angle right, so he had it tilting out, and then just put putty, and then he just took a Sharpie and just colored in the putty to match the color of the car. Yeah, I get a black Sharpie, I go around the perimeter of the No More Nails. It looks, from afar, you would not know.
Because that's where I usually look at my cell phone from. Afar.
She's old, I don't know. She's like...
Yeah, that's who I see looking at their cell phones from afar. Old people. I can't see it.
I pressed the power on, and I'm like, fucking Hail Mary. Like, I hope to God, I don't know how much No More Nails is seeped into the motherboard, and God knows where else, and it fucking turns on. I was like, oh my God, I've actually fucking fixed this with No More Nails. Like, here, it works.
So face hurts.
I give it to her. She says thank you. She leaves. The next day she's calling me. She's like, Gil, my phone, it won't charge up past 12%. It keeps overheating. And I plug it into the charge block. She's like, it keeps dying. I keep having to recharge it. And then she goes and says something else, and the phone dies mid-call. Because it overheated. So she calls back. I say, I don't know, whatever. You should probably take it into the guy. So she took it in, and I always wish I could have seen the look on that guy's face when he saw her phone.
Holy fuck!
Needless to say, they gave her a new phone.
Did they think it was like a design flaw?
I don't know, but
did you do such a good job? You tricked the technician?
She didn't even say the technician. I don't know. Like, I hope he took apart the screen and realized there's fucking no more nails all over the inside of the fucking circuits. She never clarified what he said. She just said she got a new phone, and that was it. I was just like, fuck. Well, note to self now, if I ever replace a screen that's not iPhone, I have to check if it's got a waterproof seal and order that. Because I went back online afterwards and found that you could have ordered the seal. I just didn't know that you needed to do that. So, in a pinch, no more nails.
In a pinch, your phone can charge to 12% and keep overheating. In a pinch, you can brick your phone, but at least Caleb can make it look good from afar. What is kindness?
That was kindness.
It was kindness. You did the damn best you could. It just... Oh my goodness. Okay.
So that's one form of kindness.
Okay. What question are we on?
Is being kind and being nice the same thing?
Okay, so now we're on to...
Being nice is replacing the screen. Being kind is
doing
not
it well.
using the more nails to secure it back in there.
Oh my goodness. Turned it into a fucking case study.
I've never seen it mutate like this. Nor will you ever. Again, number 172. What is the difference between good and evil? It's inherent.
Good. Okay, so again, I'm gonna try and go back to like a kid's sensibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from my standpoint as a kid, it was like good is doing what makes God happy, and evil is doing what the devil wants you to do. Which, if you take out necessarily the religious element and just keep it to God is good and, like help others, be good to yourself, be polite, do what you know will benefit others, and evil is hurting other people.
Yeah.
Well, evil is hurting other people with the intent to hurt them and not to help them.
Yeah. Anything that reaps short-term gain and fucking wreaks long-term havoc. And only...
I feel like those are a bit complex for kids.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, because I mean, like...
Good is what mommy said, evil is what daddy said.
Alright. We're now dismantling the nuclear family.
What happens to pets when they die? Jesus Christ. This really is like...
This is existential. Like,
fucking bottoming out our brains. They don't come around anymore.
Yeah, when pets die, they
don't let you pet them as much.
They're not as active. Not as fun to go on walks with.
They're really slow.
Well, I don't know, but like that's like what happens to pets when you die kind of goes into like what happens to us when we die. Like that just becomes, like a bit deep for kids. Like
I'm just
they go away.
Like I think we have to answer this question through the lens of like the cat is now dead in the living room. And so it's not like literally, do they go to heaven or do they go to some sort of afterlife? It's like, what does that cat now do that is dead? And the kid just is like trying to take Kitty with him somewhere and the kitty's dead. Okay, so what happens to pets when they die? They don't breathe. They don't move till the maggots get in them. They stop playing. They're asleep forever. To break it down without going into like the realms of is there an afterlife or cremation? I guess we can't answer this question to a kid without basically just being because I try and fucking break it down to viewers. Well, I think some of these questions obviously are gonna I think right now it's more of our banter, Mr. Phone Screen. But do you have any more fucking? What happens to pets when they die? Okay, so I kind of have watching a lot of cartoons as a kid. I went to school one day knowing my fish was sick. Yeah. And then I came home, and I saw that my fish was dead. So I remember an episode of Recess where the kid's like, "No!" and it zooms out from the kid out above his house, and it's like this echoing, birds fly out of the trees. I tried to emulate that, and my mom's like, "Why are you friggin' yelling?" Just like my fish is dead. Oh, what are you screaming about it for? And then another story. I had a lot of fish die. I had a lot of fish live, but yeah. Another story is I had a friend over, and we were playing with my brother and whatnot. And my mom was cleaning the fish tank, and she goes "Oh, a couple of your fish died, little catfish or not a plecostomus, but little catfish or whatever. Oh, they're dead." I went downstairs and I was like, "My fish died," and I was like, "Why would you tell people? What does that matter? I can't share my grief." I shut up. Truth be told, I was probably just looking for attention, but still, Mom, allow me to share that my pet's dead. I know that I had many in the tank, but still, I cared for each of those fish. That's a tad cool little catfish. They were kind of translucent, transparent. You could see their little intestines. Not super well defined, but you could see that there was a blue tube leading to its little bummeroo. I never saw such a thing. I had a cat. So when we lived in Campbellton, my dad had his cat from, I think when he was growing up, or maybe they got it just when they got married. I was about to search my cat's name. Catfish transparent. So, anyways, cat's name was Simon. Love you, Simon. He's a black and white cat, kind of looked like he had a tuxedo on, sort of thing. Like this guy. Well, these are small little catfish for a fish tank. You're gonna get mostly. Okay. But something like this. Not that transparent. Like I said, it was more translucent. Okay. It had a grayish body, but you could see kind of inside it. It's more like this top one here, then. No. Not at all. That's a watermark. Look at pet catfish. So, we have our pet cat, and he would spend half his time at our neighbor's house. Mm-hmm. These are the neighbors that I told you I hid peppermints in the lawn for my other neighbor. Yes. So, It's just coming up with the same one here. This
Well,
guy?
for one thing, those don't look like catfish.
No. They got little whiskers, I guess.
Yeah, but on their...
Glass catfish?
Something more akin to that.
This?
Yeah, that one.
This guy here.
Yeah, something more akin to that, yeah.
Okay.
Mine was more of like a... grayish, brownish gradient to whitish underbelly. But yeah.
So we have our cat. He's spent half the time at the neighbor's house, half the time at our house, and it was perfect because they're an elderly couple. They liked the cat, and it's very wholesome. So we knew we were moving, and we were having a bit of a family discussion of like, what do we do with Simon? Do we leave him with Rod and Mary, or do we bring him with us to Moncton? Because at this point, it was pretty much half their cat. He wouldn't spend nights there, but we'd let him out. He'd go hang out during the day, whatever. 2 weeks before we move, so we probably had this conversation like a month before moving. He starts to develop this tumor on his neck, and it takes him out within a week. So I always kind of feel like he knew that the decision was like too much. It was just like, we didn't really know what to do. Like, obviously we wanted our cat, but we also knew what he meant to our neighbors.
Yeah.
And he just kind of seemed like he put us out of that misery by just, dying at such a poetic time. So,
yeah.
What happens to pets when they die? They leave you with a fucking beautiful life lesson. I don't know if I learned a lesson, but
cats are not that I'm rejoicing in the death of your cat, but at the same time, it's kind of beautiful because then both families got to mourn his passing together. I'm assuming at least a little bit, right? Instead of
we held a little service for him and buried him in Rod and Mary's front yard.
Yeah,
their backyard kind of. Our backyard's connected, but
so at least because then neither family lost, you didn't have to live with the fact that your cat was somewhere else and miss it, knowing that you could have made a decision to change where it is. Right? It was very final.
Yeah.
And kind of, it was closure. Again, not happy that Simon died, but if he had to die, better than putting him through this long, arduous trip to Moncton.
Yeah.
Getting set up in a new area that's going to be stressful to him, and then him developing a tumor and dying and be like, oh, well, I'm glad we brought the cat.
Yeah, that would have sucked if we got him here and then he just died. It would have been like, fuck, we should have left Simon with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cats know more than we think, or I don't know, maybe he knew more than you might assume a cat might know. What are things that you know to be certain?
So, I think the only way that we could answer this is to bring it back to what we knew as certain as kids. Because,
that girl was ugly. In-school suspension was not as cool as at-home suspension for me. Yours was cooler.
It was cooler, yeah. So when I was a kid, stuffed animals had feelings.
Okay.
So I would just have so many Beanie Babies. Half my bed was devoted to Beanie Babies and stuffed animals, and I always felt like I betrayed one of them if I put them in the giant Beanie Baby pile next to my bed instead of in the bed. I didn't want it to hurt anyone's feelings, so I had those. And again, raised in a religious household, so God is good, Jesus is Savior, the devil is bad. Not necessarily things that I unlearned, but very basics. My mom had me convinced that tattoos gave you ink poisoning.
My mom told me that smoking weed as a man made you grow boobs. I told her that she told me this later on, after in my 20s. She was just she didn't even remember saying it. She's like, I hadn't said that. That's stupid. I'm like, yeah, it was. Fucking, I actually believed you for a while.
I only learned came to the realization just a couple years ago. I remember one time I was sick, and I was, sick as a dog or whatever, and just like feeling really shitty, and my mom wanted to give me a hug, and I was like, no, Mom, I can't hug you. I'll get sick, or you'll get sick. And my mom said, this is like a really wholesome lie. She's like, no. Mothers can't get sick from their kids. Because she was just like, no, give me a hug. Like, and,
yeah.
That's, again, I lived until like 25 believing that was true. But, that's something that I knew for certain. Now, I say a lot of these things I knew for certain because that was certain in my heart and in my mind at the time. But just thinking back on that moment is like how much my mom loved me and how much that she, she didn't give a fuck if she got a cold. Like, hug her son. And my mom's always been good like that, really.
That is very wholesome.
That is too wholesome. I'm tearing up. Jeez.
Yeah.
I love my mom.
I love my mom too.
They drive you crazy sometimes, and sure as hell we drive them crazy sometimes, but a good mom, well, I think moms that drive you crazy, obviously some people have off the rails moms, but like it's because they care so much that they will fucking lie to you so that they're like, no, this is the right path, but you won't believe me because logic and reason is not really in your forte right now. Give your mom a hug, she'll deal with the cold and not let you know about it.
There it is.
No, moms are pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
And God bless every one of them.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
What do we know for certain? Moms are dope.
Moms are dope. You heard it here first. Hopefully not, but you heard it here. If nowhere else, moms are pretty dope.
What is something that you believe and why? Gotta think of something cool.
As a kid?
I mean, as a kid...
Like, again, I'm answering these from the perspective of me as a kid.
Yeah, I'm trying to even answer this as an adult. I believe. So all my shit would go to, like, something spiritual. What did I believe as a kid?
Why do I believe... Okay, I believe that it's important to respect nature.
Okay.
Especially when you're out in the woods. I have a belief that, like, nature is not necessarily going to spare you, but I think that you have a much better chance if you're out in nature, like, respecting it and its strength and recognizing it.
Yeah.
And why do I believe that? Because it makes me feel a hell of a lot better when I'm alone in the woods, 12 kilometers out alone, being like, I'm not littering, and I'm being very mindful that there are bears out here. I'm respecting the power of nature and her ability and perhaps even will to wipe me out of the face of existence. Like, that's something. Like, that's why one of the reasons I'm so. Well, I just don't like. I've never liked litter anyway, but that's just something that's developed out of that. Is just a respect for nature and then a love of the wild and the power of the earth. And
have you ever been lost in the woods?
Like, not deep woods, because like when I was at a point where I could get lost, I was out there on my own, like out on the Dobson Trail, and there were points where I was like, oh fuck, and then I'd be like, oh nope, landmark, and I'd find my way back to the path. But there were definitely points where I was just like a little bit like, where did I come from? Like, because it looks one way going out, looks a completely different way going back. Like if you go off the trail. So I guess that's one thing that I believe now.
I did actually get lost in the woods once.
Oh yeah?
I got a tale. I'll tell you the tale.
Yeah.
So, I was with my friends out in Albert County. We were trying to find the Albert County mines. Apparently there's like some geodes there. We were trying to go, I don't know, collect some rocks, basically. So, 3 times I've tried to go to this mine, and this was my 3rd time, and still no luck. We wound up finding this, like, alabaster sort of quarry.
Alabaster?
Yeah. There's,
It's my favorite rock.
The, like, powdery white one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's quarry down there, so I can take you there. I know where that is.
I
don't know where the fucking mines are.
Like a podcast on the go. Welcome to Smugglers!
So I went there with this set of friends, tried to find it, failed, whatever. But I had another set of friends that were going to Crooked Creek to camp.
Oh man, Crooked Creek's such a good time.
Good time, right? So I told them, I'm with my other friends. I'm actually here in like the vicinity. Like once we're done, I'll meet up with you guys. So whatever, we have this whole time. We get lost, blah blah blah. Find a quarry of the alabaster. Cool, whatever. Walk back. By the time we walk back, it's getting kind of dark, and so they drop me off to the parking spot that leads into Crooked Creek, and then they peace out. So I'm there. I've got a sleeping bag with me, and I've got a little like lunch, my fucking lunch box, and I think they had got me some wine, so I had my drinks down there, some smokes, whatever. So I'm set. I walk down the trail, and then I get to this river, and I was like, I don't remember having to cross a river last time I was in here, so I was like, this must not be the way. So I double back up, and I don't see any other trails, so I go back down to the river, and I'm like, well, I'll just walk along the coastline, and eventually I'll see them. So I keep walking along the coastline. It's getting dark. I'm yelling, like, just out every couple steps, or, whatever, couple feet, to see if they hear me, yell back. Yelling, and then I just don't hear anything. I've gone quite some ways. So I then decide to go back, and I get lost. So I go, like, start walking uphill. What the fuck are you giggling at?
Sorry.
Stop free associating shit in your head while I'm speaking.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
So,
I was just thinking, like, how we use the coconut oil? I was thinking, like, no one to smoke, maybe use the coconut oil right now. And then I was thinking how you used to, like, just sitting there swishing during the podcast.
Not swishing coconut on the goddamn podcast.
Please continue. I'm sorry.
I get lost, like, whatever which way I walked along the coast, it didn't lead back the same way. So then I start walking up through the woods, and it's all hills upwards. So I start walking, I think I'm walking towards the car.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking for a while now, and I'm just still in the woods. I'm like, I don't know where the fuck I am. So then I panicked and did exactly what they told you not to do. I start running towards where I think the car was. So I'm booking it through the woods and just like not getting anywhere closer to where the fuck it is. So I stop, and I had a flashlight at least, so I stop, I sit down, I'm like, fuck it. Well, I at least have my sleeping bag, have some food in my lunchbox, I can just sleep here, wake up when it's sunlight, and find my way out when it's sunlight.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, kind of defeated, whatever, I'm like, I'm not that bad, like, I'm lost, but like, I'm well able to survive. So I'm sitting there, and then I hear a car, and I was like, fucking A. I just stand up, and I bolt, again, run towards where I heard the car. This time it lucked out. I got out onto the street, and I was like, not crazy far away from the car. I was just up road, so I walk back. I get to their van, whatever car van, it was a van, and I'm like, I'm not trying to go find them again. I'm just gonna sleep here in this, they had a roof rack, but it was this kind of like mesh, sort of like a canvas bag. So it was really big, like you'd fit stuff in it. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll climb up, I'll zip myself into this canvas bag, and I'll sleep here. The mosquitoes won't get at me. So I go to bed, then I wake up, and I'm like just sweating. Like I'm just incubating in this bag. And I go, I'm like fumbling around for the zipper. I unzip the zipper, and I just take this nice big breath of fresh air, and then I just fall back asleep instantly. And so I fall back asleep, and I wake up, and I'm in the fucking canvas bag again. It's zipped back up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Panic again, unzip the thing, big breath, fall back to sleep. Wake up again, I'm in the canvas bag again. It's zipped back up. I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I unzip it, breath, fall back asleep, wake up, feel like it's immediately, I'm still in the canvas bag. I went through like 6 layers of dream before I fucking breached reality. It's like it kept occurring. It's like my body was trying to wake me up to get me out of this canvas bag. I thought I'd done it like fucking 6 times. So finally, through like the last time of me like taking this big breath of fresh air, falling back asleep, waking up, panicking, and like I was crunched in there, so when I would panic, like I'd move my legs, and as I moved my legs, it would push the bag forward, so it would jut my head, and I jut, like it just was, I was kind of in there, crammed in there. So anyways, I unzip the thing. Finally, I'm actually in real life. Get the brush of breath air. Fucking cool. Get out, have a smoke. I'm like, well, I guess I'll walk to the road, catch some service, call my mom, get her to pick me up, type thing.
Yeah.
So this is my plan to do. And as I'm finishing the smoke, I hear some people walking up the road. So I'm waiting, listening, like, could be my friends, maybe, whatever. So they're getting closer, and it sounds like them, and we have this sort of, like, I was going to say mating call, but this, like, call will go like, hey, bitch! So I let out the fucking, hey, bitch! And they yell back, hey, bitch! So it's something when we were driving around Bake, we just rolled down the windows and yelled this to people as they were passing by.
Yeah.
Anyways, they reciprocate the hey, bitch. They get up there, and then they're like, dude, where the fuck were you? I'm like, I was fucking lost, and I tell them the whole story I just told you. They're like, that's fucking crazy. Like, we only came up here because we forgot water in the van. Like, we were just planning on staying down there the whole day. So it worked out well, and yeah, I walked back with them, partied that night, and it was
there you go,
good old time. But
nice.
Yeah,
that's
Lost in the Woods.
Pretty good Lost in the Woods story.
Yeah.
And not a bunch of mosquito bites?
Yeah, no mosquito bites. Just when I woke up, I was drenched, just sweating.
Yeah, that, to me, it sounds like you were at real risk of being smothered.
I was cooking in a canvas bag on top of a fucking Dodge Caravan. That's how I slept.
Holy fuck. Yeah, that reminds me, like, one time, my buddy, he lived out, you know how there used to be a house when you were driving, like, on the highway towards ABU?
Yeah.
He used to live in that house.
Yes, yeah.
So,
there's just that one
weird house with a trailer park next to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where my buddy lived.
Okay.
And so four of us went to camp one night, and like we had the tent set up, and we were in the tent. It was at night, and we heard like dirt bikes and all these people, like these rowdy, 20-year-olds probably, or teenagers, just like partying and shit down by the quarry that's around there.
Yeah.
So we ended up like going back and like calling his dad and like, "You're gonna come pick us up. We're scared of the teenagers."
Yeah.
So like they come pick us up, and we go back the next day, and like where it was in the field, for one thing, the tent was just boiling hot because of the sun. Another thing, we had successfully camped on top of an ant colony. So, like, just ants everywhere. We were just like, thank God we did not stay the whole night in this fucking tent. So that one,
waking you up.
Yeah, that was safe. That worked out really well, I'd say. Not to be beaten by teenagers or eaten alive by ants or cooked to death.
Yeah. I'm glad you weren't eaten alive by the ants. Or cooked to death.
That's, you know what? I also appreciate that fact. I hate ants.
I hate spiders.
I know.
Alright. If superheroes were real, would they be more responsible for protecting people than you are, or equally accountable? If superheroes are real, would they be more responsible for protecting people than you are, or equally accountable?
Accountable and responsible are two very different things, right? Or am I wrong?
No, accountable is like unequivocal responsibility. Responsibility is, well, people think it's a choice, but...
Well, because, like, it kind of comes down to, like, the billionaire, the superhero question. The billionaire question is, like, should they fix the world or like look after all the poor and everything because they have the money, or should the government? I think superheroes, like if you had a guy, like that's the thing is like say my superpower is like jumping over buildings and like not breaking my legs, you know?
Yeah.
Like, am I then obligated
to solve crime?
Like just like, what do I do? Like jump through plate glass? Like just like tackle people?
The triple murder. Like, call the guy who can jump over stuff. He'll solve it.
It means he can jump through stuff. Like all I do is like a helmet and leg warmers.
Search. She's totally incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you jump that high?
Just drunk. Like pancaking everywhere. I mean, I don't feel like... So there's one of my new favorite movies is Megamind.
Who do you think did this? I don't know. Let me jump over a building.
Look for clues.
See if I can find out.
It looks like a clue from afar.
Tony, the clue's on the other side of town. Only you can get there.
Like little flea noises. But one of my favorite movies right now is Megamind. And in it, you have this spoiler alert, which is it's a pretty dope animated movie. But so Brad Pitt plays the part of Metro Man. Okay. In Metro Man, he's kind of entangled with Will Ferrell's character, Megamind, and like they're going back and forth, and they kind of like it's the whole like shtick of it's basically theater for Metro Man, like because he's Superman, so he could obviously end Megamind at any time he wanted, but Megamind, he enjoys the pizzazz of it all. And so at one point, Megamind really thinks he's got him, but he expects him to escape, right? So he succeeds in killing Metro Man. Metro Man fakes his death, and then later on they find him, and he's in a bunker, and he's like, I'm Music Man now, so I can keep the trademark. And then he just he just lives his life. He's like, I never got the choice to be a hero or not. It was kind of like just given to me. You've got superpowers, so save people. And honestly, like if you had superpowers, like yeah, it'd be nice. But what if you just wanted to collect seashells or make collages? Like, do you have to save people, or like I feel like do what you feel is right.
Yeah.
But there's still people. Like extraordinary people are still at the same time people. Like, and it's great. But what if you just didn't have the calling to help everyone, or what if you didn't want to see the worst part of humanity? Because that would be like Batman sees like serial killers and rapists and everything, and he's just gung ho because he's on a quest. Well. One thing I heard a long time ago that I kind of resonate with is like Batman's insane. Like you don't do what Batman does and just like walk out of that okay. Like you dress up and you go out and scare serial killers. Like you're not a sane man. He's breaking bones and hurting people all the time and not feeling guilty because it's justice and at least he didn't kill them. Like, like Batman is not a fucking stable human being.
Fair.
So, like, would you really want to condemn little Timmy to that because he can jump over buildings? Like, he's the hall monitor now forever in middle school and up because he's got a superpower? Like,
let me flip it on you for a sec.
Please do.
Like, you're a very talented artist. Mm-hmm. Your drawings are kind of a skill that you have a responsibility, or the outside world would say, kind of responsibility to share with us. Mm-hmm. You have the choice to do or not to do. I would say you would be more, I would want you to get over whatever, like, qualms you may have. Say if you were to choose, like, no, I don't want to share my art with the world. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, fucking get over yourself. Like, you've got good art, share, like, do it. Like, not everybody's gifted with that. So it seems kind of selfish to be like, oh no, I want to have a life as a rock star. Like, don't you understand, like, this responsibility? I don't want it. It's like,
yeah, but at the same time, and well, thank you for one thing.
Yeah.
But like, I know that when I'm putting out art, like, as sometimes as scary as it is for me to put out the art, like, just to do it. Sometimes that's scary as fuck to me just to even attempt it because I don't want to fail. But even putting it out there, but I know that when I do that, it is very gratifying. So, like, to me, I don't do art not because I don't feel like I want to. It's overcoming insecurity. So again, like, thank you for saying that, because it does make me feel good about it. But if you can jump over tall buildings, then you shouldn't necessarily like sling power lines for a living, right? Because you can do it unless it's fulfilling to you.
I feel like your skill gives you an inherent responsibility to
do what you're good at.
Yeah, be accountable for the fact that you have this.
You have something to give to the world and something to contribute, and therefore, like, you might feel it as a responsibility, but realistically, it's more like you will be more fulfilled if you use your gifts this way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just wasting it.
I think comes with it too is there is usually a natural sense that you do feel rewarded or fulfilled or whatever it is, like satisfied by putting that to use.
Well, and truth be told, like I think Superman, I'm sure he enjoys being a reporter, but if you really asked him, he definitely feels fulfillment in being Superman. Like he knows what that responsibility is.
That's a good one going up.
Well, they're superheroes. So then again, you look at Batman. He's like, I've got all this wealth and a bunch of issues. I'm going to put my insane face to work. So I guess, are they more responsible? Well, but like as opposed to, I would
just say yes, they're more responsible.
Yeah, because if Superman can get shot and not die, then I don't think you should be running out into bank robberies and slugging people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the protecting people aspect. Because the average citizen is responsible to do it within the reasons
to do good and to contribute.
If they witness something and they can do something about it, by all means, you are responsible to act and use your given talents of dialing 911 or whatever the fuck. So,
or yelling fire.
Yeah.
Because fire, if you yell fire, it's more helpful than yelling help. And that's one thing that I've learned. Not from personal experience.
The concern. On to the next.
Yep.
Does helping people make you feel good? Why or why not? It should.
It should. If your child answers no, then you definitely, that's a question to bring to, well, I suppose if it's like because they take advantage of me, if a child could articulate that. Because I know that in my past, like, my parents kind of drilled into me, like, do what's good for other people. And I don't think they meant necessarily to imply that even if it's to my own detriment, but that's how I interpreted it. So I was always, doing good for other people, even if I really didn't want to do the thing, but because I felt obligated, like if I don't do this, I'm a bad person. Which led me to, eventually to make some really bad decisions when it came to friends.
Helping people.
And losing a bunch of money because I just was giving it away at one point. People needed help, and I can help you, man. I'll pay you back. I know you will. Don't worry about it, though. And then, 10 years later...
still haven't seen it.
No, and I will never see it.
Some guy owes me $40 right now.
If I had tallied it all over, it'd be like 5,000.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little more than 40.
A little more.
He was like, he borrowed $20, and I was like, $20, I'll wager this. I very much doubt he's going to pay me back. He paid me the $20 back, and then a couple weeks later asked me to borrow $40. I was like, is this the scheme? Is this the fucking scheme?
Yeah, is this like, are you just going to like make me trust you until you ask for like 200 and then you're going to bounce?
Yeah. I gotta tell this other story because this guy's ridiculous. So he would do the scam where like people would be, this is a story from work at the car dealership. So people would come in with food, like takeout food at lunch. He'd be like, yo man, can I see that receipt? And we'd call the place and say that the order got all fucked up. And then you'd go get free food. So he would do this all the time. But there's this one guy that he did it with, and he made the guy go back, and so I gotta explain it. So Raj was the guy that came with the A&W, and he's like, Raj, can I have that receipt? And he's like, yeah. And then so he calls A&W. They say, okay, cool, we'll like replace the stuff or whatever. So Raj goes and gets the free food that they were replacing with it, but they also gave him his money back. And so when Raj got back, he was telling Remain, as I call him, that they had given him, the food back and then the money back. And Remain's like, well, give me the money. That's my money. And Raj just gave him the money. It was like the most like fucked pussy thing. Like, I mean, me in that situation... No, because
you bought your food. I scammed them. You're not part of this other than like maybe a cut at most.
Yeah, you pay, and so, anyways, it just was so fucking weird. Like, Raj, what are you doing, man? Don't give him the fucking money. Like,
Yeah.
And it's just so awkward because we were watching this go down, and Jermaine's like, "Give me the money." And Raj's like, "Well," and you knew like in his head it didn't make sense, but like Jermaine's just like, "That's my money. Like I got it," and he's like, oh, "Fine," and gives him the money. And I could just see him wither inside.
I don't know. Like I know at some point. If I was, I don't know, because like I've never been one brave enough to try that kind of scam, but I can imagine that if I was, I would have been like, no, I'll give you, like I'll pay you for the receipt, essentially, like I'll give you $2,
Yeah.
like, but you're not gonna get all your money back because that's not your money. You bought your food. You had a transaction. Your transaction of giving me the receipt was not stated that I would give you part of this scam. Like you gave me the receipt willingly.
No, Raj like bought the food, and then Jermaine called, and then they said they'd replace the food, and then he was like, "Raj, can you go get the food?" So Raj went and got the food that was being replaced for his food, got the money given back to him, and then came back and he gave the food to Romain, and then...
So it was Romain's scam?
It was Romain's scam, but he made Raj go
and then Raj gave him the money?
Yeah, that's what's
Why?
fucked. I don't understand. It
what?
was like...
That doesn't even make any sense at all.
She's like, dude, don't give Jermaine the fucking money. Like,
yeah,
your fucking money, Raj.
Take it as a fucking fee for driving back and being a part of this.
Yeah, and also, like, you shouldn't have even driven there in the first place. Romain wants the fucking receipt, give Romain the receipt, and just
let
say,
him
like,
try
fuck
that.
off. Like, you want to do this? Do this. I got my fucking hot food to eat. It's fucked.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's cowardice at its finest.
Absolutely.
Worse. Does helping people make you feel good to make Raj feel good in that instance?
Well, Raj wasn't helping people. He was getting taken advantage of by Jermaine Romain.
Yeah. Where's my $40, Jermaine? Anyways. What is the difference between adults and children?
Puberty and responsibilities.
I really thought you were going to say pubic hair.
Well, I mean, that's part of puberty, but...
Yeah, that doesn't make you an adult.
Well, your body's beginning that journey.
Yeah.
But adults and children... Responsibilities. I'd say learning... Having experienced enough from your actions to understand the consequences of those actions if repeated.
Yeah.
And applying that... Basically being able to apply wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, if you can recognize wisdom as a helpful tool and begin to apply it, then you're probably on your way to adulthood.
I ain't got no contestant of that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. Nailed it. Number 179. What, if anything, makes a person different from an animal? Genitals.
We've talked about this before. Consciousness, sentience. Well, no, we discussed it there. Yeah, self-awareness and then sentience.
The ability to like ponder your actions.
Societies, architecture.
Yeah.
Textiles.
Literature,
culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, honestly, culture is probably one of the strongest arguments because everything that animals do is instinct, right?
Yeah, but that's also part of where culture comes from, too.
Yeah, but I mean...
I don't really want to argue on that, but I would say, like, culture... if you live on the coast, we go back to the, like, your climate kind of causes you to be instinctual or,
Yeah, we are, what it makes... I mean...
I think just the ability to think about your actions is a
I think, therefore, I am.
Well, not necessarily that you are, but, okay, I'm going to eat this food. Should I eat the healthy food or the bad food? I'm going to
wisdom
do this
as
thing.
A helpful tool?
Basically, but that's like, considering... If you choose to fucking eat some healthy shit over McDonald's every day, I don't really know that I'd qualify you as wise. But,
well, you're still wiser than too many people, right? Like,
yeah.
But then you can have unwise people. So, I think the difference between animals and man would be the fact that we are Homo sapien.
Clothes.
Uh,
Animals don't wear clothes.
yeah, but some people don't wear clothes.
Alright. What makes you...
Dogs wear clothes.
What makes a nudist different from an animal then?
Okay. Probably those... So, I went to a nude beach this last summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize, like, it didn't compute in my brain. Like, I went on the... Well, it's not an official nude beach, but, you know, it's kind of unofficial. You go past a certain point and you're like, you can see.
Okay.
And so, like, everyone makes structures, right? And I was like, phew, these piddly little structures that you can't, you know, get out of my way. So then I spent time being naked and getting bitten by horseflies as I'm dragging around these huge logs and making like a fucking like a shelter, like I'm in the woods. And it's only after I did that and had been bitten to shit by these horseflies, I was like, wait, those aren't shelters, they're shade. They like because they would make like shade from, you know, a couple rocks and put a stick up, so that you could lie with your face in the shadow of the rocks and the stick.
Okay.
I tried to go full Bear Grylls and make it an encampment. So I was... Anyway, so that was fun. But, well, nude beaches might...
Well, did the fucking flies bite your junk? I think that's...
No. That's the thing with horseflies is they're almost... Like, they do hurt more than mosquitoes, but they're slower, so you can kill a lot of them.
Okay. I thought you were going to say that's why they're...
I let them bite me.
Hog flies.
That's fair.
Yeah, if they were hog flies, they'd eat meat. That makes them more like a person than...
Well, it makes a person different from an animal. I mean, walking upright for sustained periods of time. Societies.
Yeah. Schooling, culture. I'll go with your culture thing.
Culture. Literature is another big one. I think you hit nail on the head with that.
Yeah. The arts, period.
Using of resources and to the efficient, like to the extent that we do. Because obviously, you know, you have animals that make incredible structures, but they're not they make their own kind of cement and whatnot. But like we make it into an art form deliberately.
Yeah.
Like living in such opulence that we can make very like even the very bare bones of our survival like ornamental.
Yeah.
Also, we've created such an opulent, I keep saying opulent, but like luxurious society that our bare necessities, they become much more. So it's like, well, I need internet, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when you're so successful that you have to make things harder for yourself.
So, Twitter pages.
Yeah, Twitter.
I suppose people have pages for their dogs on Instagram, but I don't know if the dogs
I don't really think the dog is in charge of that one.
Oh, and also, my sister's dog, Chesney, made that painting, so animals aren't quite...
Which one?
The
in the black frame?
No, the one right above the light switch. Not the brown ones, obviously, but the purple and gold. And
okay.
She put a bunch of paint on the canvas, like just poured it, and then laid down a plastic bag, put some whipped cream on it, and the dog just started looking around.
Yeah. That was an idea that a girl I used to date had. Is she said, you know, we could do cat paintings where you do the same. You pour the paint on the canvas, you put catnip over the plastic bag, and they just roll around it and everything, and they paint that way.
So it almost makes an argument that abstract art is more heathenist. They're like fucking...
Yeah, but the animals aren't setting out to create art. The animals are setting out to ingest and enjoy.
I know, but it's like the real art that defines animals from people is the actual, like, I don't know, realism or surrealism or anything.
But elephants can draw pretty well.
They can?
Yeah. Elephants can paint pretty well. I mean, some of them, it's not like, you know, an inherent trait, but you can look up elephant painting. Or elephants painting, rather. I'm not saying they're...
This is painted by a fucking elephant. Huh.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
It's impressive. Now this
was not made by an elephant.
It's $1,000.
Get out of here.
For fucking Jesus Christ.
This is what separates us from animals.
Yeah.
This level of stupidity.
Jesus. How fucking big are these things anyways? Card set with...
They're not $1,000 worth big.
$460 for fucking playing cards. That enrages me almost.
Who with a Gucci anything is playing with cards, is my question.
Grandma dice set, $450. What the fuck is going on with you guys?
That's so wrong.
9 inches by 7 inches.
So animals might not think forward, but people are smart enough to know better and still do really stupid things.
Yep. Here we are. Want some more of these fucking weird ass things. Tracksuits and sweatshirt. Denim. Anyways, we'll hit these last two.
Yeah.
Is social media good, bad, or neutral?
If you're a kid, it's probably bad. Stay off of it.
Yeah. Don't watch this. Or watch this.
Watch this.
I have to choose every time I upload that it's not for kids, but...
Well, with parental supervision, perhaps.
Yeah, it's alright.
Well, I think social media, if you're a kid, get your kids away from social media. Like, that, to me, is like when you have a formative mind.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad that all I had was like four kids' TV games on the computer and like Neopets, and it wasn't like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, I can't imagine what it's like growing up in a time where everyone is trying to, because ads when you were a kid were porn pop-ups, and you knew not to click on them because they give you viruses, right? Whereas kids now, like, their porn pop-ups are like the people they're following on Instagram that are going to lead them down that rabbit hole, or like people advertising toys in a malicious sense, like just well, not malicious, but I'd say like they want mom and dad's money. They don't, like, they're not out there to care about the kid, what they're putting online. And I know that, you know, we had toy commercials as a kid, right? But at the same time, watching it on a TV, while yes, it does, you know, get the kid to annoy the parents, hopefully your parent is around to see the commercials on the TV at least every so often, instead of scrolling Instagram and being like, what's a penis pump? You know, like, I feel like that, like, there's
do you see a penis pump ad on Instagram?
I see a lot of ads on Instagram, not for penis pumps, but like
I don't see any like fucking X-rated ads.
I would love to see an ad for a penis pump if it meant I never saw Bumble ads or heard the Lawton's drug commercial ad ever again.
I don't think I've ever seen a Bumble ad either.
I get Bumble ads all the friggin' time. If it's not like Bumble is the most often. I also get Hinge, Match, and sometimes POF, and it's just like, thank you for reminding me I'm single, moving on. And then I'll be like off TikTok, and I'll go on YouTube, and I'll be like, oh great, this video will play after the ad's done. Find what you're looking for on Bumble. Like, I need to focus on my art. Like, I'm trying to learn how to do things with crayons. Get out of here. And then the Lawton's drug commercial is just... The one on TikTok's worse because I have to see the people singing it.
Yeah. I saw that one recently.
Yeah. Make you weller, and it's just like...
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad, and I really hope it's not a locally shot commercial, because I am not happy with looking at the faces of the people in the commercial. I will say that. Also, God help you I'm sorry that they like. I hope they volunteered and actually enjoyed doing it because had fun because that is a terrible jingle. All it does, I think I've stepped foot like maybe once to help to be with my friend to pick up a prescription. I think that's one time I've stepped foot in a Lawton's. If that in fact happened, it's very entirely possible I've never stepped foot in a Lawton's, and now because of your commercial, I never will. I will pay someone to go in and get my kid's prescription if I have to. Like, I will not go in that fucking store.
They had a Lawton's by our high school, and one of our buddies would just go in and just nick chocolate bars every lunch. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it was just kind of reasonable. He'd just go get one. Like, I say reasonable, but whatever. He's stealing. So eventually, sometimes we'd put orders in and we'd like pay him, like give him $1 for like 2 of this or 2 of that, and like he'd cut his deals and he'd be, stupid because he's basically risking himself each time. But so the final hurrah before we got banned from Lawton's was he decided to try and steal an entire box of O. Henry's and just put it under his shirt, like sticking out, and then just like, okay, run. Like not trying to be inconspicuous or like finesse this to.
But if you're gonna do that, why not just run with the box? Right?
Fair question. He has it in his shirt and he's running, and as he's running, it's just O. Henry bars like flying out his fucking hoodie, and the manager, whoever the hell, just get back here! Always the get back here. Like, okay, bud, that does never work. And anyways, we didn't go into Lawton's for a long time after that.
When my stealing stuff as a kid's story that isn't my shoplifting story is like, we used to go to the co-op. I can't remember where it was, but my dad used to take me into the co-op, and they had like this big moose head on the wall and a wishing fountain in the front lobby or whatever, like when you go through like one set of automatic doors and the next.
Yeah.
And so one time I asked my dad, like, can I stay and hang out with the moose head or whatever?
Yeah.
And so then I ingeniously started picking coins out of the wishing fountain.
Yeah.
But I had no pockets in my pants, my dinosaur sweatpants. So I put them all down my pant legs. So my dad comes back and I'm walking with fucking bulged up sweatpants like a fucking tambourine. What is that? Nothing. What do you have in your pants? Coins. Put those back. I don't even think I got in trouble. I just I thought I was ingenious. I'm pretty sure that's how it went too. But I tried to steal a bunch of coins from the wishing fountain by putting them down my pant legs because I had no pockets. I think it like had a little raptor on the bottom of my pants. Anyway,
fuck.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. I don't remember where that was, but there was always draws for cool stuff, and one of them was like a giant plushy Heimlich from Bug's Life.
Okay.
I wanted it so bad, but one time I won an M&M towel and 2 boxes of Batman M&Ms, and I was on top of the friggin' world.
Batman M&Ms, I didn't even know they had. Yeah.
Yeah, they had Batman promotion M&Ms, but like, no, I got a towel that was an M&M, and like when I was a kid, it was huge. Not so big now, but like still, I had like a novelty M&M towel that probably you could buy for $30, but I got it for free, and I was a young boy, so it was just like, my parents were always like, I don't know why I'd enter that draw, I'm never going to win. So that's basically been my attitude for life. It's like, why try, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
So then I won that box of, those boxes of M&Ms and the towel, and like, I to me, it was like, how could this ever have happened? Like, just so surprised that anything good could come across you in this life.
This must be a mistake.
Yeah, like what am I doing winning these M&Ms?
Let me see the name on that ballot.
God doesn't want me to have these M&Ms.
I'm trying to think of shit I won. I won a door prize once at a video premiere, like a skateboard or snowboard video premiere. Actually, The lunchbox I was telling you that I had my lunch in when I got lost in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
I won that lunchbox at a
Nice.
snowboard video premiere.
Was it like a tin lunchbox?
No, it was the worst fucking lunchbox you ever saw. Like, it was made in a Chinese sweatshop and somebody just slapped a Burton logo on it and shipped it off to a fucking prize lot. It was barely even insulated. It was just canvas and then had like this silvery layer of fabric that you presume was, kept the cool in, but yeah, still got it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won a pair of socks too, I think. I won a pair of socks. I don't know if it was from that night or a different entry, but I rolled my ankle twice in those socks and I just cut them up. Threw them out.
Were they colored socks?
Yeah, they were. They were like all this weird striped shit. It was like black cuffs on the top and then like black, like kind of like yours are.
Yeah, black heeled.
Yeah, black heel, black toe.
For those wondering, I have beautiful shark socks.
Yours are much nicer than mine were.
Yeah,
and then
they give me +2 to swimming.
they just had like turquoise and purple and black like lines in this weird fashion. They were kind of Beetlejuice-esque, but
yeah, those really don't sound like your vibe at all. No wonder you got
free.
fucked up in them.
They're like this expensive sock brand, so the socks were like $30 a piece, but
like a pair or a piece?
A pair.
Okay.
Like a piece for one pair. Not
okay. I'm just thinking like,
buy individual socks.
What fucking psychopath sells you a pair of socks? Buy the sock. It'll be $60.
You want 3 or 5? What?
So that answers the question: is social media good, bad, or neutral? I think for kids it's very, very bad. I honestly think that social media does a lot.
Dude, MSN back in the day, that's how you got bitches, man.
No, that's not social media. That was an instant messenger.
That's social media. That's what they would call if you're being social on.
That I feel like that's a very loose definition.
No.
Well,
I thought MSN was the original social media.
No, that was an instant messenger. That was a messaging program.
So social media is what? Like,
okay,
media
so
it's just geared to
media
social
out of your social life. Social media. Your friends become your TV. Essentially, if you want to break it down like that, like Facebook really was one of the MySpace, right? Yeah. Like your interests, like you look at what all your friends are doing. Social media, your friends are the TV, is how I'm breaking it down right now.
Yeah, I mean, I had fun on Facebook as a youth.
So I wasn't allowed to have Facebook, but I got it anyway. And so I, of course, went fucking ham, being a weird kid that I was. So, like, I had photos of me, like, shirtless in my cargo pants, holding this big fuck-off Bowie knife. And, like, I was in my edgy phase, so I had, like, one to my neck and everything. And so, like, I added people on Facebook. And, of course, being in Christian school, my mom being a teacher, people were like, "Do you see what was on Tony's profile? Like, there's a giant guy with a knife. And, like, there's a dude giving the finger." My mom heard about it, but I didn't know. But at the same time, I also went back and deleted those photos. Like, I don't know. I think I
instinct.
Got some, maybe some instinct. I think also grace of God.
Yeah.
So then, like, my mom's like, "I heard you on Facebook," and I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I want to see it," but I deleted all the bad photos. So it was just like me in a picture of like the kartoshka that my brother bought back from me from Czech Republic.
What is that? Like
it's like the stereotypical Russian hat with the ear flaps that tie up top.
Okay.
It was World War II Army surplus.
Nice.
It doesn't fit over the afro. It was kind of a tight fit as a kid anyway, so like now as an adult, it looks really cute on my brother's kids, but other than that. So like she comes up and she's then looking at the wall, and so like when you could do the stupid quizzes, and she's trying so hard to find something that she doesn't like. And I had one that's like, "You are the bull," and it was like, you filled out the stupid poll and you got the answer, and she was like, "So did someone post this on your wall?" And I was like, "No, Mom, it's a fun little quiz you take and you get the answer." And she just like was seething that. She was mad because I had social media and she didn't want me to have social media, and I went behind her back and did it anyway. Mm-hmm. And then...
But she wanted to cause...
She wanted, a reason to be angry, and there was no reason, even that, because when she showed up, and I showed her my pictures and everything, I was basically, at that point, using Facebook responsibly.
Yeah.
So she couldn't be mad at that. So she was just mad that I had it. And then she went and told my dad, and he was like, well, maybe he shouldn't have access to the internet then. Like having Facebook was such a big deal. It was just like not worth it. So I think I was in college. Like that was in like grade, I want to say 10 or 11. And it was like college before I made another Facebook because it just was like not worth it.
Grade 10, 11? Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably got my Facebook in grade 9, maybe tail end of grade 8.
Well, but you're also
a year older.
Yeah, how did you get it that early? Well, I remember Facebook because I finally convinced my mom to let me have MSN to talk to people. And she was like, what do you talk about? And it's like, there's women on this, Mom. Like, so my brother, also, I didn't have a computer of my own at the time, so I was using it on my brother's computer. And I was like, I want
There's women on this, Mom.
And I was like, I want an Inuyasha, it's an anime, I want Inuyasha profile pictures for my, for your MSN icon. Okay. And my brother was looking for duty free. Like, he was looking like, well, you can't steal the artwork. Someone might come after you. Like, my brother is that straight-laced. I love him. But he was like, no, that's art theft. And it's like, I'm 14. Like, I'm putting an anime character.
So he's trying to buy the book for you?
Well, no, he was looking for stuff that was, like, public domain. Oh. Like, he was looking for stuff that wasn't copyright infringement, even though that's not what it is. And it's like, God bless you, my dear, wonderful brother, but, like, he is very, you want to talk about, like, he's lawful good. Mm-hmm. My brother does not break the law or the rules. Like, he's the kind of guy who says, I'm going to write a strongly worded letter, and he doesn't mean it ironically. Like, he's the kind of guy that, like, writes letters to the MP.
Okay.
Which, nothing wrong with that, but when you're just 14 trying to have cool anime profile pictures and your brother is insisting on finding licensed friendly ones or whatever, that was something else. But anyway, so I remember Facebook coming around because I had MSN.
Yeah.
And then people stopped being on MSN because they could chat on Facebook. So then the girls weren't on Facebook or weren't on MSN, they were on Facebook, and I couldn't go on Facebook. I wasn't allowed. So that's, how the cookie crumbled. I was slowly, unintentionally ostracized because my mother wouldn't let me on Facebook, and I think I only had my best friend to talk to, and we were really catty back in the day, so like we'd just get in arguments because he would say stuff to me online that he wouldn't say in person, and then I'd be freaking out, running to my brother, pulling my hair, and he's like, "You're a fucking douchebag," and I'd like run back and be like, no, it was I think one time he called me an idiot because I spelled a lot without, like, I didn't put a space between the A and the L-O-T. He's like, well, you're a fucking idiot because you used a lot. And it's like, well, like, nitpicking. My friend is well, it was, we're over that part of our relationship. We're past that bridge, I think.
Mm-hmm. So then, it's good for the kids. There's some bad stuff that happens on there, but the connectivity part's good. I think having an age limit, as so that you can report kids, because there are some people that I'm like, like when you, like, I know on TikTok, like you have to be. What does a 6-year-old need to be able to, who are they messaging?
Yeah,
something.
I think almost like it's important to be aware of those things, but if you need almost like well, that's the thing that was like kid friendly. Like you have YouTube Kids, but Instagram, they just shouldn't be on Instagram. They shouldn't be on Twitter. Like YouTube is good for educational content and stuff like that. But I really don't think kids need a Facebook. They definitely don't need a Facebook. And if you have like kid friendly apps, like if you had a kid friendly Instagram, who would flock to that Instagram, right? Like you'd just be putting fish in the barrel. Right? But I would say that for kids, bad idea. When they start getting older, they need to kind of be monitored a bit, as much as I hated that as a kid. I think I was a bit over monitored at the same time. That just meant that like when I got my time to, like, I was just nothing but mischievous. Like as soon as I had the chance, like like just seeing whatever I could look up or experience, if you will. Yeah. Like when mom and dad went out for the half hour they did every 3 years to a social function.
The same way my parents only went away once when I was in high school, and you know damn well we had a fucking party. So they went, I think, down somewhere like down south type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandma stayed with us, and so I threw the party, of course. We're in the garage just fucking smoking. Like, we didn't even smoke in the house, so of course she kicked us out there, and then Abby was out with us, and she's like, Abby, what are you doing here? Get back in! So Abby goes in, and then we smuggled, Smugglers Cove, we smuggled Abby out. Like, a couple of us went in to use the washroom, and then I brought some girls in, so it was like, you know, she didn't think it was as mischievous. And they went up and they got Abby, and they just kind of like huddled around, like walked as a unit out the door. My grandma was down in the basement. They didn't really have to, like, you know, but they just did it to make sure. And so Abby was out there again, and my grandma, like, what are you doing? It's fucking hilarious. So the best part is, my grandma comes out and she says that my neighbors called, and like, we gotta go because the neighbors are gonna call and like make a noise complaint, blah blah blah. So we leave, go party at the Bertrand School. That's where our hangout spot.
Yeah.
So then, the next day, Abby tells me that she's checked the phone logs and my neighbors never actually called. So we go down like fucking detectives that crack the case, and Abby is like, so Nanny, which neighbors called? And Nanny starts fumbling right away, like, you know, and then says all the ones over there. And then Abby's just like, well, that's funny because there's no log of them calling on the phone. And my grandma is just priceless, seeing her just stumped up.
Like, what? You are grandma. Like, you have the authority to tell people to leave. Like, why did you invent this lie?
Touche, right? Just fucking tell us to get out of there. It's funny. Alright. How do you know that you belong, Tony?
How do I know that I belong? When I am in an environment where people are building me up and I'm building them up, where I'm comfortable. Not necessarily in every situation, because obviously social anxiety and everything, but I know I belong when I'm around people that I can make laugh, they can make me laugh. I'm not worrying about every move I make, where I can be myself. Mm-hmm. And again, building each other up. I think that that's a really important part of belonging, is looking out for one another and looking to push people to be the best that they can be. Mm-hmm. People who can, when you're around people who tell you the truth, mm-hmm. I think the best way is, you know, sometimes you do have to just be blunt, but I think in a constructive criticism kind of way, or a place that when you can tell when they give you a criticism, it comes from a spot where it's like understanding and compassionate, but also like, hey, stop doing this.
Yeah,
you know,
a place of caring.
Yeah, that's how I know I belong. Now, when I was a kid, I couldn't be able to tell you, because it was just like, people like me, because that was, to me, was just the thing.
I remember, so I moved here, of course, from Campton. When I moved, I was 13. Mm-hmm. So obviously a little tender, because I already had my friend group. And I moved to here. I've got long hair and I skate. And my school was full of a bunch of preppy boys who played sports. So I was like, well, I am not fucking being friends with any of these people. And I also thought it was really lame to just go up and introduce yourself, like, hey, I'm Caleb, the new kid. Like, that wasn't my jam at all. Which
I went to the beach one time after I left public school to go to Christian school, and I went up to these guys. There was one guy who was like my best friend, and I was like, hi, I'm Tony, and he's like, hi, and just went back to playing with another kid I knew from school, and I was just like,
why'd you introduce yourself?
Well, because I thought that they didn't remember me or something. And apparently they didn't, or they didn't care. And then what hurt more is Ben's mom remembered me. She's like, oh, hi, Tony. And I'm just like, just go back and hang out with my mom then.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben and Daniel. Pieces of shit. Anyway, please continue with your story as I just mope in my sad recollections.
I got put in the English class by mistake. I was supposed to be in French immersion. Mm-hmm. So for the first week I was in English class, and like the first day it was all in English, and I remember thinking like, maybe they're just going to ease us into French. Like, we had the summer off. Don't fucking... And then it just never got French. And so...
Were you disappointed?
Well, I just knew I wasn't where I was technically supposed to be.
Oh, because in Campbellton you would have grown up with a lot of French around.
Yeah, and I was in French immersion growing up, and so it's fine. Like, in the summers, we'd go down to Shediac, and there'd be a bunch of people from Quebec, Memram Cook and shit. And so I was always talking French. It didn't matter to me that... So I sort of made friends in the English class, and then I told my mom what happened, and she called, and of course they put me in the French class the following week. So it's kind of bummed because now I had these homies, but it's like the French and the English didn't really hang out with each other at school. The English kids went and played with themselves, and we played with our group. So segregation still, anyways, naturally occurred. And so anyways, I'm in the French class, and for one, I was telling you about my friend who moved to Denmark. He had saw me in the English class, and like I said, I was the only boy there with long hair, and he told me, he's like, dude, I remember seeing you, and I was like, oh great, another fucking ugly girl. I mean, of course, I didn't have the mustache or the beard, so I did look a little more femme, I guess. So
that's hilarious.
Anyways, I get in there, and it's like they're just all squeaky clean preps, and I was just not having it. So at recess, I just would sit on this hill, and I just sit there. And they're like, I don't know, like a week went by me just sitting there, and I was like, I guess this is my life now. I just kind of like made peace with it. I was like, well, I had my friends in Campbellton, and I got my skateboard. Like, it didn't bother me as much as maybe it might have
like
somebody else. Yeah, it was just like, I was like, all right.
Now I have this hill.
Yep. And finally, this Ashley and Matt, shout out to them and thank you, they came up to me one recess and they're like, where are you from? It's like, Campbellton. They're like, why do you talk funny? Like, I literally said Campbellton. I was like, I don't know. I think maybe in Campbellton they would say there a lot. Like, oh, they're fucking right there. That's my only, if I'm trying to give them some credence. And then, they just kept like asking me questions, and then they said like they were doing something after school, so I went, and then they introduced me, and by the end of grade 7, all the kids in my grade, all the boys in my grade were growing their hair out, playing tactics, and were skateboarding. So
wow,
yeah,
you're like an emissary.
What's that? A person who encourages people to grow their hair and play tactics?
No, emissary. I want to say like almost like an ambassador. If you want to look it up, just so I don't.
Okay.
If either reveal my idiocy or,
it sounds
vindicate
cool.
me.
Emissary.
An emissary. E-M-M-I-S-S? Emissary. There we go. Only one M.
Person sent on the
usually a diplomatic representative. All right, I stand by my.
Yep. Yeah, my special mission to fucking integrate skate culture into this community of preps. Yeah, so worked out. I didn't have to stay on the hill, and I guess that made me feel like. I guess that they liked me, and I guess that they liked me made me feel like I did not belong, I suppose.
Yeah.
I was just trying to wonder if belonging had a deeper, feel to it than just being liked, but
yeah,
for me, I think it was just as simple as being liked, being understood-ish.
Well, I think that comes with it. Yeah.
Your whole answer was much more on the nose and had all the particulars. But
you had a fun anecdote that included a hill.
I found out I was an emissary, so we've all learned.
Well, you had it here first, folks. Hills are fun, and so are tech deck.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to change a nation, or at least your own grade that you're new to, take notes. But I guess you're a kid and you can't watch this because social media is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean...
You're doomed.
Yeah.
Start bullying. It's fun.
So we were doing so well. Well, I think that wraps it up, don't you?
I think so.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for coming back, guys. We enjoy seeing you here at Smugglers Cove. Drop us a like, hit us up with a comment, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. Tell us what your favorite food is. If you like sushi, long walks on the beach, getting caught in the rain, it's all the same to us, I think.
It's written by Rupert Holmes, by the way, not Jimmy Buffett.
Not Jimmy Buffett.
St. Vincent.
Is that? Oh, St. Vincent. I don't like
her
her name at all. I feel it's very misleading.
At all.
Well, I don't know her other than the videos you showed me. And
What more do you need to know?
Well, I guess not much. St. Vincent is vapid and an idiot.
Yeah. I take 2 minutes of somebody's conversation in a YouTube video and I base my whole opinion off them. As you may do to us. So
that's fair. I mean, but if they're watching to the end of this, they've spent a long time learning if they like us or not.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is a pretty fair, I think, characteristic. Like, if you watch one of our podcasts, I mean, depending on the day, but typically I think that if you watch the podcast and you like us after one podcast, you're probably, unless we say something really, like, off-kilter, you're probably going to be like, you know what? I like the cut of these guys' jibs.
I like those smuggle hunks.
Look at them smuggle hunks with their Playmobil in the bathtub and all their Beanie Babies and tech decks.
Mm-hmm.
Their in-school suspension sandwiches at their desk.
Good sort.
Look at them go.
Yeah. I never knew bullying could be so fun.
Learn something new every day. But thanks for coming by, guys. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we hope you come back next time. Join us here at Smugglers Cove.
Love you all.
Have a good one now.